Welcome to the show, everyone. This is a Presence Beyond the Obvious production, a dialogue series that's about creating a movement to reimagine business and organizational management, coaching and leadership development in an extraordinary moment in time. A time in which we find ourselves wondering how to engage with increasing pressure, confusion, not knowing, isolation, insecurities, overwhelm, disengagement, fascinating and yet scary human and artificial progress. You name it. How to be, become, or stay happy, serene, and grounded when so many things happen so fast in, with, and around us. How to not lose our mind and come to our senses. To live a life that is worth living. We believe that presence deserves to be presented with all its merits to enable precisely that life. We believe that there is quite some room for both coaches and leaders to tap deeper into the power of presence when it comes to becoming purposeful architects of lasting stability in an ever higher, bigger, faster coaching and leadership world. We talk to coaches, leaders, educators, representatives of the coaching and leadership professions, all those that share our passion, championing intentionality. We have one thing in common. We care to take decisions and support others in taking decisions that are aligned with a deeper purpose, pushing boundaries to ensure that coaching won't lose its value as a result of an oversaturated market, or that leadership won't suffer bad reputation as a result of volatile, shareholder-driven organizational life. The goal of this series is to explore the manifold facets of presence. What can presence be? And what can it not be for effective coaching and leadership today? You'll take a look at the many ingredients that go into an impactful coaching and leadership presence and how you can develop yours too. I'm your host, Tunde Erdush, and I'm here with Claire Venetsanaku. Together we founded Integrative Presence, the world's first symbiotic coach-leader experiential and hybrid learning program around the power and plurality of presence. And of course, our guest today is Marco Tieleman. Marco is an ICF MCC and EMCC Master Practitioner Coach based in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. We invited Marco because he likes looking beyond the obvious, in particular behind the obvious of coach education, the use of methodologies, the world of accreditation, and the world of presence. A hearty welcome. And this is where we would like to pick up with Marco today. What is the one thing that nobody knows about you yet and you dare to share, Marco?
Wow. What nobody knows about me. Nobody knows about me. That's a difficult one. Because I'm rather open about a lot of things. Yeah, so I'm now thinking about secret things, but a lot of secret things I shared with someone once. So what nobody knows about me. Mhm. So then we are going along the fields of relationships. Well, I've been honest about one thing in my relationship, which I should be honest about. So that I shared all as well. That's a difficult one. It's one that nobody knows about me. I don't have to choose
You
on strange places.
don't have a skeleton in the cupboard, no?
Mm, well, yeah, but that's already not. I've been doing mouth to mouth breathing to someone who already was dead. But yeah, that you normally do that to people, but this one was already a couple of hours dead. But people know that as well. And if, yeah, do I have secrets? Yeah, of course I have secrets, but
Or dreams.
oh, where I dream about. Yeah, but I'm afraid you don't want to have that in your recording.
Okay. You know.
But it's
Um,
but it's okay, Marco, because actually the question was just meant to sensitize us to why we are here. The series that we are setting up here is called Beyond the Obvious.
mhm,
So because it's called Beyond the Obvious, so we would like to inspire everyone to
mhm.
the guests too and us too to look beyond the obvious about us and about the practice that we are committed to. So you don't have to come up with anything. It's just like it's difficult, right? When we want to really look beyond the obvious.
Yeah, yeah, this is definitely because, yeah, it, um, then the world is that big. There can be that much, but yeah, but mm, I told nobody what I ate this morning for breakfast. But yeah, that's not obvious what you want to hear. So, but what is shareable? What is yeah, and uh, and I noticed now that I've been mainly thinking while maybe inside my body there was more information to share.
Mm.
So that's where I yeah. Mm, yet there's another field. There's another field. There isn't. I think there isn't stuff coming up right now, but um, yeah. Well, uh, I think I didn't share that much the imposter syndrome about being a coach or in my job. So, do I really know this job, and am I really capable of all those questions which are coming? So then there is the uh, ooh, and I want to keep up the appearances in kind of way. So being honest about being unsure about myself, mm, that's not what I share the most. I think not many people know about that. Yeah, even in
Mm.
intervision, yeah, then you have a case, then you discuss, but that's different. As a being unsure, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I think that is yeah. So that's not in the head, but that's in the body, and I can feel it.
Hmm.
Yeah, thank you for taking your time to discover it.
Yeah,
Um, for us, thank you very
that's what
much.
that's what you learned me.
Yeah, when did we teach you that, huh?
It was almost 2 years ago. It was April 2022. I took the train to Vienna, and I told yesterday to someone how that went, because he asked me about how do you choose your education, and I said, well, yeah, once I had a long list, but the long list doesn't work anymore. And I said, well, it comes. And I don't know how we get in contact, but I remember that before the education I was with you, that we had an online conversation, and that in less than 3 minutes, there were tears in my eyes, and that my whole body was twinkling, or and that I knew, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. We talked about that. No, we talked 40 minutes more, but that was not needed because my body sensed, yeah, here you have to go.
Mm.
And yeah, so my body tells what I have to or what I'm going to do next. And there are some very interesting courses or seminars or whatever. And then, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, but my body doesn't react. So yeah, maybe I
Mm.
go, but the universe is not calling me in here.
May I ask you something, Marco?
Yeah, of course.
And remaining into the body uh, discussion, how how are you able to integrate this power of the body knowledge in your day-to-day life and in your practice, into your job?
How am I able to integrate the wisdom of my body into my daily life?
Mm.
Yeah. Uh,
And your work.
yeah, of course. Yeah, that's part of the daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Slowing down. I think that's the main. I have to slow down, and um, being aware of, well, the sensor radar from integrative presence. Keep on sensing. Keep on sensing, and it can be very tiring when you do it by all your channels a whole day long. So not that, but yeah. An example. Yesterday, my son, he's 12. Uh, he was on bed, and we got a call. Can you please come because there's still anger in my body? Okay, well, great that you call me. And so I went to him and I lay next to him, and then I said, well, what do you need? I don't know. Oh, oh, oh. He didn't know. And I said, well, but it's in your body, isn't it? Yeah. Well, what? Yeah, please come and lay down, lay next to me. So I went there, and then it just takes time. And I thought, well, I would like to go downstairs, but no, this takes time. So I was next to him and just feeling what was happening, and I could feel some anger in my body as well. So we resonated, and okay, and we had some chit chat, and well, where maybe the anger comes from, and well, yeah, something in the class maybe, or well, he didn't know exactly, but said, how it is now? Yeah, it's getting less. Okay, great. And how comes? Yeah, he didn't know. I said, yeah, I don't know either, but well, maybe some of your anger is in my body now, and then I take it away from you, and well, that's what these are for. And okay. And how about going to sleep? No, I want to stay you longer. Okay. And it's okay. And I stayed, and there were almost no words, but just being together. And and it was my body which was doing it, being a daddy and being someone who knows how it is to be angry, and well, having experience with that for 50 years and he only for 12 years. And we simply shared. And yeah, I walked downstairs, and He he yelled at me, I love you, Daddy. Well, I love you too. And he could go to sleep. And it's, yeah, is that body work? Is that being present? Yeah, okay. I think so. And in the same way, it's just being a daddy, doing your job, your task as a daddy. It, so it's in the small and simple things. And well, I'm in the Netherlands, and here we have a lot of bikers, and we also have people who take your bike. Well, it's not theirs. And together with my son, then he comes in, Daddy, there's someone with a bike. And then he says, it's not okay. So then we go outside, and then there's someone with a bike, and then my body says, no, you are right. It's not okay. So we call the police, and they come, and they arrested the thief. And that's also in daily life, just following your body. What is it telling? And what is sensing? And it's just what happens. And you have to be open for that. To my coaches, I tell, well, here's an antenna, and it's 1 meter 86, and the antenna is on. And sometimes I already feel what is in your body. I don't know how it comes. I don't know how I learned. I know how I developed, because that's about consciousness. But I don't know where this skill is. It's in the body. And it can be on several places. And it is. And I use the tool. And I'm happy with that. Yeah. Is that a question? Is that an answer to your question?
Absolutely. And thank you for this openness.
Okay.
The question is, how do you feel about this for yourself? Because we just ask a question.
Yeah. How I feel about this, and is this the having the capability, or about the sharing, or about the application of this in the daily life? Where, yeah. And those are only 3 fields. Yeah.
Yeah.
The application in life is it's touching that I already can feel what is happening on the other side. But it's also kind of am I an intruder now? Because, yeah, I've been in a course, and a friend, former colleague of mine, said, well, I think it's not ethic to feel what's in the body of someone else without having permission for that. Yeah. And then I thought, well, it's about intention. I'm not tapping in to get information you don't want to share. I'm with my coachee in a relationship in which this can help. And it's one of the senses I have to get. I'm with my son in a relationship where the daddy and the son, daddy can help him. So it's very rich. It's very touching that I have the capability and the capacities to do. And I have to do it with, I have to be sensitive. And when I feel something, well, be aware. And how would it be for the other to know that I can feel that? So I'm not doing it in the open, but I'm dancing the 5 rhythms. It's great to do to develop body experience. And sometimes a dancer you can see she's not feeling well. Okay. And okay, can I support you, or do you need anything? Well, I'm not sure. Okay, if you need, yeah, maybe a hug. Okay, so and I gave a hug, and I could feel what was happening in there, and wow, how is it that I feel together with you? Oh yes, please. So we did, and after a minute, I start burping, and she was a little anxious. What's happening? And I said, well, yeah, it's your body, and it's mine. But and then she said, hey, it relieves me. Oh, does it? And then it's great to be able to do that. And she was thankful, and she was like, how do you do? I said, I don't know how I do, but it is. I can, and you could use it. So be happy with that. And it's the question how it is this. It's also having a sense which other people, yeah, it's hard to for other people to understand what it is when that you can do it. So there's
How,
sometimes
how would you now say that? What is the obvious about this, and what is the not so obvious about this way of practicing coaching, and then also its application in life?
what is obvious and what is not obvious. Uh, it's obvious that it's for some people it feels like magic. That hey, how can they don't know? So for them, it's not obvious. Mm. So your question is what is obvious in this and what is not obvious in this?
In this practice, in this way
In
of
this
practicing.
practice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my body never lies.
Mm-hmm.
That's obvious to me. It's yeah. When I feel something, I feel it, and sometimes it can be me having a not having lunch this afternoon, or that's my. But when I'm in connection, that yeah, it's obvious, and my body never lies. What's obvious and what's not obvious? It's obvious that it works for me. And for me, it's obvious that you can develop it. And in kind of way, I think everybody has this sense. But I also can imagine that in the Western world, our education is not focused on developing this sense. And that's a pity. And as parents, I think we have an obligation to support our children and society. When you have the capability, you can support people in developing it. So I have my teachers in this, and I can be a teacher. And I think I feel obliged in kind of way to do that.
So you said education. You mentioned the word education, Marco. Is what is obvious and what not so obvious when it comes to today's coaching education? Then.
This is beyond the methods and the models for me. And when you want to learn the practice of a coach, yeah, then of course you start with some models and some methods. That's obvious as well. But after having, well, your first luggage as a coach, which you can apply in your education, I think it's time to develop that your body yourself is an instrument as well. And I'm afraid that too much coach educations doesn't use the body, while that is our only instrument which is present when we are in the coaching interview. So it will be my recommendation to every coach with 2, 3, 4 years of experience to start definitely working with their own body as well. And to of course, you can use voice dialogue and systemic work. And in systemic work, there is the body part as well. But voice dialogue, yeah, it's mental in most applications. You can use the body as well as one of the voices in voice dialogue. So integration with body and all those methods will be, well, is recommended by me.
Yeah. You said that you were you said that we taught you through integrative presence this sensing and then sensing into the realities, and we were working the 4 levels of presence and the 4 spheres. And the question is, we also set up the program like inviting coaches and leaders to work together. And this is not so obvious.
Yeah.
Programs don't so much do this. And Claire and I, we said we would like to go for this way of experiential learning. What was in your interaction in this symbiotic way of learning? What was obvious and what not so obvious? What were your takeaways from this setup?
It's 2 years ago, and with most of my learnings, it's theory. Well, the theories. So it's okay. I'm tapping from my body now for this answer. It was interesting and touching to see how leaders struggled in their own learning process, and that they did it in the atmosphere we had together. So their doubts, their reflections on their own tendencies to go to the cartographer parts, and that I noticed with myself. Oh yeah, I noticed that you are doing it, but I'm doing it myself now as well, because and that interaction was permanently going on. It also can be a warning to people who would like to subscribe to your integrative presence, that when you are aware that you can be sensing continuously through all the senses, that it is very tiring.
Very tiring.
It is very tiring. And as well, it gives you that much information. So don't do it all day long. But be aware that there is that much information in yourself, in the interaction with the other one, and the other one, in what is where we are, in the bigger part where we are in, and how does the bigger part, yeah, it enriched the the relationship between the leader and me as a coach enormously, because we both were more aware that we were in that learning environment. So it's I know for myself that there can be some competitor energy in myself. So, oh, I know this already. And, oh, you don't yet. So that's giving me a good feeling, and my ego is filled, feet. And in this environment, it was interest. Oh, interest. So we kept wondering about each other's process and what is happening there. Oh, okay. And what does it that I see this with you happening, and what does this with my process? And so, yeah, from the leader perspective, well, you can ask it one of the leaders, but I think for them as well, it was interesting not only being talking with a coach, but also being in a learning environment together. Yeah.
And it's interesting you're saying this, because I had a conversation with someone the other day about this learning environment, and the dialogue was with a coach, and she said, okay, so what you're doing in that training, I'm doing in my practice anyways. And I felt like, I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think that when we are practicing coaching, we can wonder about each other's process. As you were saying, we don't have that very same space of discovery and enriching. You said it was so enriching, because as coaches, we learn, in a coach education we have a different role than when we are in a training with each other. So what is your take on this?
I agree with you that I think it is not the same. But when you ask me, how can we convince her that it is different? That's difficult. Because it is the being there and the experiencing. But I remember that when I came home from the days in Vienna, my wife asked, how was it? It was great. What have you been doing? That was difficult. And of course, I could reproduce exercises we did, and I could tell about how we did it and what we. But it is sense, talking about the sense. Yeah, you should have been there to experience the same.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid for the one you talked to the other day, it's hard to imagine what it is. And yeah, of course, people say, "Oh yeah, I know that." Yeah, I will believe, but I don't.
Yeah. So it's for us, to be honest, it's having set up this new way of learning, coaches and leaders together. It's not easy to convince people to do this, because there's a lot of knowing about it, like, oh, I'm doing it in my practice anyways. It's like, I don't think that you are doing that. You're doing something.
Well, in the training, I have had moments that I thought, oh yeah, this is like I'm doing, But here we add something, and that's and what do you add? It, again, that's hard to pinpoint. Yeah. And I think as well that, well, we were with 8 of us as participants. When you have 8 others, there are other things happening. We were at the beginning of a war in Ukraine. We had one of the participants who was involved in there. So the war entered our course. That's, whoa, that was a big one. It can touch me again. I noticed that. Okay. So every group will bring his own dynamics as well. And the learning space will be different. Even how you will maybe focus on the same roots. I think every course will be very different.
That's true.
And that's what if I remember well, that it wasn't we are doing this and that and that and that. It was going with the flow. And the group seems to be prepared for, oh, well, then let's do this. When this is the moment to do this. And that's what I like. Because when you want to know exactly what you do on the morning of the second day, well, and this is not your course.
Yeah. When you already know and you go in this with, well, okay, I know, then this is not. Yeah.
No.
You also said something about cartographer. I picked up that terminology, cartographer, that we are using in this experiential setup versus a sonar radar principle. Yeah. So the and the audience may not know what you were meaning by that. So maybe to clarify it. So we were setting up the idea that the world of knowing, or our world, tends to be the world of a cartographer who is the person who sets out a plan and sets out the map and tries to map the world. Yeah. But it has limits, sort of thing. And it's always it's set. Yeah, it's set in a certain way. It's planned and set and preset, etc. While the world of the sonar radar is, you don't know when the bling bling is gonna come, right? You don't know when the sensor is gonna show where a danger is, or where something important is, or where something's hidden, or where something's, yeah. So it's always, and that's why probably you were saying it's tiring, because you are having your senses on all the time, because you don't know when and in which moment, in which situation, in which interaction, the important thing, the relevant thing is coming to show that needs attention and to work with.
Yeah, exactly that. And it was I like to know where I am in, and to have some control. So, and I think we all recognize that we want to define something. There is a woman in front of me on the screen and she wears glasses. Well, that must be because of she has bad eyes. And that's the cartographer saying she has bad eyes. But maybe it's not about bad eyes, but about aesthetics. And wearing that. Oh yeah, but then she doesn't has bad eyes. It can be. Is she? Oh, she's from aesthetics. Oh, that's why she has this background. Okay. yeah, maybe, but maybe it has another. So always looking behind the first observation. That's the solar sense. sonar sense, yes. Uh, Keeping curious, being curious all the time to see what is behind your first observation. And it is, now I did the visual part because we are working visual together, but I remember that you asked for what taste do you have? And after that, there has been a lot of taste in my mouth. Not eating anything, but there is taste. What is this taste? Just what does it tell me? And how comes? And yeah, what do I hear? And is that because of the being more aware of what you hear makes that you can hear with your coachee that there's happening something in their stomach, or that the breath is going in a higher frequency or not. And when you just notice it, don't make the cartographer, but just notice what's happening. Okay, that's interesting. And you can ask a question about it, and you can't do it. Both. And just going with the flow. With this, oh, I see something. That's what I remember from the learning program as well. That oh no, I can't. But the urge, or yeah, now I want to apply. Oh yeah, but sometimes the application is caused by the cartographer. So delay, postpone. Wow, that's yeah. To be honest, when I reflect now on that, I think, oh yeah, that was in Vienna. Maybe I didn't integrate all those with me when I reflect on my last interview this afternoon. Oh yeah, I could have postponed a little bit more, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I would also like to call you out on something, if I may.
Yeah.
Can we look beyond the obvious?
Yes, for sure.
So if I remember well, but Claire, also you were kind of like you're facilitating this with me. So maybe you remember it with a different touch. So please feel free to come in. So I think there was a moment where we had an exercise. You came to the middle of the group. We had you there, sit there, and you were sharing some frustration about an exercise that we were not giving enough instructions, and you didn't know what to do to get prepared, and then we had this exchange, and I was challenging you on that. Now, how is it retrospectively? What is it? What happened with this urge? This moment came up because you mentioned the word urge, and I think it connected me back with that moment when I had the sense that you also had this urge to, but you should have told us, like you should have been clearer on the instruction, when actually we didn't want to be any clearer. Yeah, that was the whole point, to not be, and kind of like being this like, yeah, we couldn't do it, and we should have, and so, and retrospectively, how do you reflect back to this? Not so obvious.
Yeah. After this, in the last 2 years, I had another course, and there was with a colleague of mine, it was about being and doing. And my preferred route is the doing. So then you need an instruction to know what to do. And here it was not clear what to do. So that frustrates me. That brings me out of my pattern. And I don't like to be out of my pattern. And since that, in that course, there was also how many times you can use just being and seeing what is happening within not knowing, or well, all the knots, not this, not that, and how can you deal with that? I think in the course, being in the middle, being that frustrated about not having clear instructions was kind of the start of learning, not having the control, not being able to be the cartographer to, oh, this is the plan, then I know what I have to do. Well, sometimes there is no plan, or in this occasion it was the plan not having a plan.
Exactly.
Don't laugh, Claire, it was very frustrating.
That was a plan to not have a plan. It was really
and it worked. Yeah, for me, for sure. Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with how well experienced you are and how well educated you are and where you are with your coaching any given moment, because you are a very experienced coach. You have a lot of education, and you just said that after that you did yet another training. So you continuously keep moving ahead and pushing your boundaries, right? So we can always be caught off guard because we all have certain preferences that we may not be aware of, or we are tired and we're not normally aware of. So it's there's never a stop to learning.
No, and I think in every course and in every learning there is a new hook with and that's the beginning of a new one. I discussed with my wife a couple of weeks ago that when you are into personal development, it's an addiction, because when you find, hey, I've got a new theme. Why does this hit me? Why I'm touched by, what does that tell me? And there's a new hook and a new question for new developments. So I think we never will be, finished. Well, death will come once, but I'm not sure about learning after that.
What the spirit will learn then, huh? If there is one,
we will see.
Marco, is there a question that you would like to ask us?
Is there a question I want to ask you?
Yeah, so to put it out for everyone's benefit. I mean, we are. It's not just an interview. Like, we're not at a police station interrogating you.
No.
We like to change the dynamics.
I understand. Yeah. Which feedback of the leaders you got in this course touched you most?
That touched us most.
Yes.
Would you like to go first?
I remember the surprise of a leader where at the beginning she was feeling that I know, and I know my body, how is functioning and how is reacting, and my brain as well. And I remember during the course, she realized how much power and how much intelligence her body was telling her when she permitted herself to notice this. So in her brain, the cognitive part, she was telling yes, but actually was no. And while she permitted herself to do this, it was a huge discovery. So for me, that was one of the touching for me feedbacks from the side of the leader.
Oh, yeah. Right.
What about you?
Something similar and yet different.
Okay, that's good.
If I think of touch, probably when I think of touch, like, I think what was the touch of it was wow, it's kind of like, when the touch is, and have you ever had this sense that somebody touches and it's a wow?
Yeah.
As Marco was saying, like, it's so difficult to explain sensing. It's not just a touch, but it's something very special that the contact is disturbing but exciting at the same time, and it's very special, and it's evoking emotions, evoking the feeling of frustration, because the leader that I'm having in mind was struggling very much to get on board, to again, headspace, cognitive, is a little bit similar. That's why I was saying that the example is similar to Claire's, because it was a cognitive space, and she could express that frustration about the struggle, and then, but staying in it, but still struggling with it. And it was interesting for me how it touched me also in that way. The words were touching me, the feedback touched me in that, wow, as if it were painful also, yeah? And I thought, oh, wow, that goes deep. So how relevant the program is, we should not be taking it too lightly, because it goes under the skin, and it's not just about learning. That was a takeaway that I had. It's not just about learning. It's not just about ticking the boxes. It's really also about, for us, for me at least, how mindful we need to be, like the place that we are potentially taking some people to. And because we went into this program with a lot of lightness, yeah, and that it may not be light for other people, and to be mindful what we are creating, because it can go very deep, and what else we can improve to make sure that the way they get touched, that they can experience it in not just as suffering, which is also learning in itself, but how to transform it then more with greater lightness. So it was a big learning for me, actually.
Yeah. What interests me, what I notice, is that in both your answers, it's not about what people said to you, but what they experienced. So the experience has been touching, and the words, yeah, there were some words, but it was in the energy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the energy. Yes. Yeah. Yes, and we also hold as our philosophy that we are our experiences. So this is what actually, yeah. Yeah. All right. So would you be up for, Claire? I'm seeing that you are up for saying something.
Yes, I had two questions, but the one I will leave it aside, because we said many things about the cartographer and the sonar radar. No, I was curious because I see the depthness and the reflection and the mindfulness from you, Marco, as well, and we are who we are, no? So I'm sure that you're bringing this into your daily life, but in your coaching practice as well. So I'm curious, if someone wants to know more about you, and how can someone find more things about you and what you're doing, and
about find the URL about me on LinkedIn, or about experiencing, yeah,
whatever you want.
When I would coach you, be sure that your body is involved. Yeah, I've been thinking already for 6 months about my career, and I I'm stuck. Yeah, that's because you only thought and you didn't use your heart and you didn't use your butt. That's so then I guide people through their body. And the wisdom of the body combined with Aikido is in vertical Q. And there, just by pushing people in 9 postures, can make clear which talents they have. 4 talents you do without any effort, effortless. So use those in your practice. And that is wisdom of the body. That is being aware of what is happening, being aware of what your own talents are, and to combine those. That's what I like to do as a coach, but sometimes people are coming with other questions. Well, then we go with that question. So it's not a method, it's not a pattern. People ask, what's the program of your coaching? You are. I don't have a program. You have a question, and you can guide yourself. And of course, when I'm walking along with you, then, well, I will notice, and my body will notice, and your body will notice. And when you have a struggle, I can be with you. And sometimes I have a struggle as a coach, and I share with you because that's interesting as well. And that's what we did with the leaders and the coaches together in your program as well. So I think there is, practice what you preach. I think the two of you did in the course. I do in my practice, and I hope that the leaders who come into my practice will do it with them, with their employees. So
So you have spoken a lot of wisdom. I don't even have to ask you, like, what is it? How would you like to encourage the audiences? Because you have given so much encouragement, as far as I go, for people, that I will ask you something else to close for today, Marco. How has this been for you, like spending your lifetime with us here, podcasting, and supporting us on our journey to get the word out there about integrative presence? What was it like for you today to spend your lifetime with us?
Yeah. This was in one flow, and I can feel, and you can hear, it's just flowing. So it was great to be here. And to be honest, it was 2 years ago, I was in the course, and then you asked me, can we please make this recording? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course, yeah. From my heart, please. And then I said, oh, what were the theories exactly? And I said, and should I go back and then no, stop. Just get your integrated body in this interview, and that will be enough. And it was. Enough. It was enough just to be here with an integrated body. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
And thank you for this laughter to close this. And the best of luck. And thank you again for accompanying us, and you allowing us to accompany you and be part of your journey.
Thanks.
And until next time, Marco.
I wish you a lot more leaders and coaches enjoying integrative presence.
Thank you. Thank you. Heartfelt. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
We are on top of our time. If you are interested in getting instant access to integrative presence, please go to www.integrative-presence.com. And if you have comments or questions and how you can be part of our movement, make a comment or recommend a guest, drop us a line at office@integrative-presence.com. This is a Presence Beyond the Obvious production, a dialogue series that's about creating a movement to reimagine business and organizational management, coaching and leadership development in an extraordinary moment in time. And this is our guest Marco Tieleman. And you can reach Marco at marco.tieleman at coachingrotterdam.nl. Stay tuned, and until next time.